We'll be talking about cube roots in this session. So let's first understand what is a cube root. For a perfect cube, the number whose cube it is called the cube root of a cube number. So similar to the square root, which was the inverse operation of squares, similarly the cube root is an inverse operation of cube. So if we are saying 4 cube is equal to 64, we will say that cube root of 64 is 4. So that is just an inverse operation. It is represented by this symbol, which is the symbol similar to the square root with a 3 placed within that symbol. So that gives us cube root of 64 is equal to 4. The cube root of a negative number would always be negative, and the cube root of a positive number would be positive. That we know, because the cube of a negative number is also negative, and the cube of a positive number is also positive. This is unlike the square roots, where we were saying for a positive number, its square root will both be positive and negative. This would not be true for cube root. Cube root will be negative for negative number and positive for a positive cube number. Let's look at the properties of the cube roots. For any integer a and b, we are saying that cube root of the product of a and b is cube root of a multiplied by the cube root of b. So we have a multiplied by b, and cube root of whole of it is equal to cube root of a multiplied by the cube root of b. And similarly, cube root of the of a divided by b is equal to cube root of a divided by cube root of b. In this case, b cannot be 0. So the first one is true for all integer values of a and b. For the second one, the value of b cannot be 0. Let's now see how do we find the cube root by the prime factorization method. We'll first find all the prime factors of the given number, and we'll group them in triplets. If any prime factor cannot be grouped in the triplets, then that number, the given number, is not a perfect cube. Then we cannot find the cube root using this method. Now if all the prime factors are grouped, then we take one factor from each group and multiply them to get the cube root of the given number. Now this approach, as I just mentioned, can be used only to find cube roots of perfect cubes. If it is not a perfect cube, we cannot use this approach for finding the cube root. Now let's take an example. We take an example of 729. And now if we start grouping it into its prime factors, we get 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied with 3 multiplied with 3 multiplied with 3 and multiplied by with 3. So this is what we get if we factorize 729 in its prime factors. So now we group them into triplets. This is one triplet, this is the other triplet. So we take one factor from this group and one factor from this group, and we multiply them together. So we get 9 as the answer, which is the cube root of 729. So this is how we'll find out the cube roots using prime factorization method. Now we can find the cube roots of a cube using estimation method also, and this is again, we use this method only for the perfect cubes. We take the cube number and we make groups of 3 digits starting from the right, which means starting from the units place. Now we take the first group from the right, find the units digits of the cube root based on the units digit of this group. We know that there is a specific relation between the units digit of the number and the units digit of its cube. So just by looking at the units digit of the first group of the cube, we find out the units digit of the cube root. Now we take the second group, which will be less than equal to 3-digit group, and we find the two numbers such that this group lies between the cubes of these numbers. So let's simultaneously take an example. We take an example of this number 74088. Now we group this into these three on the first rightmost group, and then the remaining 2-digit in this group. So here, looking at the units digit, we say that 2 is the units digit of its cube root. Now we take 74 and we say that this is a cube, this lies between the cube of, so if we have 8 8s are 64 and 9 9s are 81. Sorry, we're talking about the cubes of the number, so we'll not take square, we'll take cube. So we have 4 cube is 64 and 5 cube is 125. So we're saying it lies between 5 and 6. Sorry, 4 and 5, because 4 cube is 64, which is just below 74, and 5 cube is 125, which is the nearest cube above 74. So it lies between 4 and 5. So we place the lower of the two at the tens place of the cube root. So that is how we get the cube root of this given number. So as we just said, we take the smaller of the two. This method can again be used for a maximum of 6-digit cubes. For a 7-digit cube, if we have this number, this cube, instead of this we took as a 5-digit example, if we take it to be 6-digit, we can still go ahead with this method. If we take this, a 7-digit number instead of this, then what we have to do is the second group will contain 4 digits. Now we take another example and we say for example, we take a number 84896664. Now in this case we group the first 3 digits from the right in one group and the remaining 4 in the next group. So looking at the units digit, we can say that the units digit will be 4. Units digit of a cube root will be 4. And now we'll take 8489 and we'll find out whose cube root would it be. What two numbers would it lie between, and then we find out that 8489 lies between the cube of 20, which is 20 cube is 8000, and then 21 cube, which is much higher than this number. So it lies between the cube of 20 and 21. So we take the lower of the two, which is 20, and place it here. So we say that this given number, the 7-digit given cube, is a cube of 204, or we could say that the cube root of 8489664 is 204. This method cannot be used for 8-digit or more digit cubes. Now we'll again see an example. So we want to find out the cube root of 704969. We make the groups of 3-digit each and we do it like this. So in 969, we know that this 9 is, its cube root will also have a units digit 9. So now we look at 704. This lies between 8 cube, which is 512, and 9 cube, which is 729. So we take the lower of the two, which is 8, and we place it at the 10th digit of its cube root. So we get the cube root of 704,969 is equal to 89. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the session. If you find it useful, please like it and share it with your friends. You can visit us at our Cool Smart Learning website and post your queries there. And please subscribe to the Cool Smart Learning channel for getting updates on the new sessions. Thank you.